I've heard Dr. Julie Slattery, she's a friend of the ministry. You're probably familiar with her. She says that men are uniquely sensitive to failure and criticism. So, do you agree with that, Gil?
Ouch. Yeah. Your guys, be they 6'2" or 5'7", they might be brawny men, but they're boys inside. And
Mm.
if you pluck their pain just right, they'll crumble.
What do we do sometimes as women in blended families that can create more of a sense of failure?
Yeah, I think you might mean well, girls, with your criticism, but depending upon what's in that man as a boy or as a young man or in his first marriage, whether he's entering into this marriage with you via death or divorce, just know that there's pain there.
Right.
But there's a sense of identity for men that I'm trying to get this right. I'm trying to provide. I'm trying to keep the peace. And when I don't feel like I'm doing that, then it's in essence almost a dig at his identity. And some of us can be really, I'll bite a bullet and just keep on moving, when in reality, I'm hurting. I was at a men's retreat a couple years ago in Colorado, and one of the best things I heard, and this was a group of probably about 400 or 500 guys in the room. One of the speakers said, "Hey guys, what your wives may not remember is that you are men, and yeah, you're tough, but get over yourself, guys. We know you have emotions and you hurt. Your pain is important too." And I
Right.
think that's where sometimes we as men want to keep our shoulders, because that's what we're called to do, is to be protectors to a point. Because women are fierce as well. Quite frankly, ladies, some of you scare me because you are strong women and we need that. However, sometimes it's okay, hold on. You see things in us and then you go after us, and that actually shuts us down. And the very thing that you want is the very thing that you just now pushed away. It's very counterintuitive to say, rather than a criticism, to place a very well placed, kind complaint. I have a complaint to register with you, but it's like the sandwich effect.
Yes.
Here's a compliment. Here's the bologna that I got to have you eat. And then here's the other compliment.
I was going to say the same thing. Yes.
It's so hard for women to do that. And there's scripture, and you and I were kind of talking about this before, and I think this is the appropriate place to share it.
Yes.
In Proverbs chapter 12, there's two verses I'm going to read. One is from chapter 12 and one's from chapter 14. But chapter 12 of Proverbs, and I'm reading from the Amplified, so if it sounds weird, just it's okay. Here it goes. Chapter 12, verse 4 says, "A virtuous and worthy wife, earnest and strong in character, is a crowning joy to her husband. But she who makes him ashamed is as rottenness in his bones." And that, whoa, because in my Bible, and this is where I want to be very respectful to both, and sounds really weird, to both of my wives, my wife now and my first wife.
Okay.
I have one who was at one time a crowning jewel in my life, and then something, whatever happened, it rips my gut out. But she became as rottenness in my bones because everything I did was criticized. But then when the remarriage started and I sensed that criticism again, it was like, oh no, here we go again. We got to stop that. And then we worked through it with some of the principles we've talked about already. And then it was like, okay, now there's this crowning jewel, because that is Brenda's character. So that kind of is a real ouch. But then if you go to chapter 14 of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 1, it says, "Every wise woman builds her house, but the foolish one will tear it down with her own hands." And so, in so many ways, girls, you have a lot of power. And that power, if used in a way, and some of us guys, we're emotionally illiterate, sorry, and we have to be educated, but we have feelings. And if we don't know how to share them, slow down. This is where always forward, just go slow comes in. Slow down. We're trying to catch up.
Yeah. And I think it has to be a safe environment or you're not going to share those feelings. So you have to know that your wife is going to listen to you.
Yeah. You just hit it out of the park, Gayla, because safety is, oh, I'm not in physical harm's way, like I'm going to get run over by a hurricane. Emotional safety. And this is something Brenda and I talked about really early on. I said, honey, if I'm vulnerable, which is the very thing that you want, then
Right.
I've got to be able to know that what I'm about to share, you aren't going to weaponize it against me, because that's what I did before. And
Yes.
it got weaponized. And then I shut down. And the
Mhm.
very thing that she wanted, I would not give her, because now, girls, you've become your own worst enemy. And safety for both husband and wife is paramount, because below that is the entire principle of trust. And
Right.
without trust and honesty, the marriage is going to suffer. And then what's going to happen? It's going to ripple out into the family, because, again, the strongest bond for a blended family is the marriage.